Let's go! Hey, if you want that to be the intro, that's fine. Hello and welcome to Checkpoint on Campus. I am your host, Jacob Brothers, and I am also joined by the other host, Erica Sudora. Erica, how are you today?
I'm doing freaking fantastic. How are you doing today, Jacob?
I am doing groovy as heck, but something even groovier is this week of On Campus. Coming up in the queue, we're going to be talking about the CRL Spring 2022 wrap up with Ruben. We're going to be talking about level next adding FIFA. We're going to hit you with your review, and we're going to be closing out the show with E3 being canceled. All of that coming up on this week of On Campus. Don't you go anywhere. Hello again, friends. Jacob Brothers is still here, and I am joined by delightful friend of the show, Ruben Osterling. Ruben, thanks so much for coming on.
Hello again, friends.
And if you guys know our show, if you see Ruben, you know what we're talking about, and that is Rocket League. The CRL Spring 2022 just wrapped up, and it was honestly stupid. And I mean that in the most positive way possible. It was unbelievable. So the teams that went were Northwood, Columbia, Stockton, St. Clair, UT Arlington, and UNLV. And 5 of the series were a game 7. 3 of the series were a game 6. There were only 3 series that finished before a game 6. All the teams were playing their hearts out. And then the grand finals was Northwood and Columbia. Now, you would think that Northwood would just stomp the competition. Northwood was the only team who swept opponents in this tournament. And then you get to the finals, and Columbia sweeps Northwood, forcing a grand bracket reset. So, Ruben, talk to me about this grand finals reset and how ridiculous it was.
It was ridiculous. I'll be honest. Columbia made such a comeback. That's what really happened was I was watching the bracket reset. By game 3, I'm like, oh, that's it, it's over. Northwood won. And then all of a sudden Columbia just kind of like changed their gameplay, their style, and it was really good. I actually did not know who was gonna win at that point. I'm like, I actually don't know. I'm just gonna see what happens. I think what happened a lot was at first Columbia wasn't focused on their goal. They were really too busy on trying to like get like the ball possession and trying to line up very far shots from the midfield. And what happened was Northwood just kept taking the ball. They really took advantage of that and they just kept scoring on them. And the thing about Lion Blaze, he's like one of the best shooters on Northwood was he was just taking the ball, lined up and shot. It was really quick, and I think it was amazing how fast he just scored. Like he like took a second to line the ball with the goal, and he was doing very tight shots. Like he was shooting from the corners. So I was blown away. And Columbia, especially having Cryptic on it, me personally, I think he's one of the best players in CRL. Like in Game 5 alone, he had 3 goals. And I think for him, he really shaped up because he kind of less defense and more offense. And his team kind of like picked up on that. And they ran into a gridlock. That's what really happened. Because now Columbia fighting with a better offense, Northwood didn't know what to do. They're like, wait, I thought these guys were very defensive, and they kind of got like, they didn't know what to do. But what happened was, eventually Columbia were overwhelmed by Northwood because they kept very, very aggressive offense. They even got, seeing it, by game 6, they got very aggressive. What happened was Northwood was planning their boosters, really more specifically, at a very master level. The problem with Columbia was they were not using the boosters at the right time. Personally, they were kind of taking too long to like get in the ball's way or to like reach their goal to protect it. Northwood saw that like a little hole in the armor, and they used it for the advantage. From above, they were doing like aerial goals, or from like the pocket in the corners. The crazy thing was just the booster use. I think that was what Columbia kind of lacked. And I'm just gonna do a quick shout out for Northwood with their Hoke. He was an unsung hero. I know he didn't get like a lot of like praise because I know like Buddy and Lion Blaze were getting a lot of the goals, but he was such an amazing support player. He was not only blocking the ball at like any angle at any level, but he was also just kept passing the ball, setting up the shots, and stealing the ball from Columbia.
Yeah, no, this grand finals was exactly what a grand finals should be. I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
Northwood won games back to back, Columbia won games back to back. I mean, the game 7 went into overtime because neither of the teams scored.
Yeah.
And then the final goal is this beautiful corkscrew aerial from Lion Blaze that just sinks right into the goal, and it couldn't have been a better end. So Northwood, congrats! You really deserve this one. This was ridiculous. Now, as we all know, what's coming up next is the world CRL Worlds. So, what can you tell us about Worlds? When is it happening? Who are the teams going? So on and so forth.
Well, it's really exciting. They actually just tweeted the location, not just the date a while back, which is going to be June 3rd to June 5th, but it's going to be at DreamHack Dallas in Texas. And it's going to be really cool because it's going to be a total of 16 teams. So there's going to be 6 from Europe and 10 from North America. What's really fascinating with the North American teams is the 6 teams that made it into the finals. So the teams you mentioned before, like Stockton and Northwood, they are automatically qualified for the World Championship. So it's gonna be really cool seeing those, the top 16s in the conferences compete in the World Championship. But that leaves 4 spots though. So what they're gonna do is for North America, they're gonna have something called LCQ, and it's pretty much a last chance qualifier. So this is gonna be from May 3rd to May 5th, next month. It's gonna be a 56 team double elimination bracket. There's literally going to be all these teams from like the previous season, the top 16 teams from CCCA Open, also the top 26 teams other than the ones previously mentioned from this season. We got some teams from like the Showcase and the NACE Star League. So there's going to be a lot of teams that are, if they didn't do that good this season, they got a chance at this World Championship. And through this crazy bracket, it's going to be a fun. The top 4 are going to be eligible. And for Europe, they got their finals later in this month. So we'll be keeping track on the teams that the top 6 teams that come from the Europe finals this month.
Awesome. Yeah, and so CRL Worlds will be happening between May 3rd and May 5th. Or that's not true. Sorry, excuse me. It's going to be happening on June 3rd. And I personally cannot wait. Will Northwood do it again? That is the big question. But that was Rocket League. Coming up next, we're going to be talking about Learfield announcing FIFA and Level Next after this. Hello, hello. Checkpoint XP still here. Erica and Jacob still here. And Level Next has announced FIFA. So, Erica, what do we need to know?
It is pretty exciting because, as we know, Level Next always is playing Madden or Rocket League, so it's nice to see FIFA 22 finally on that roster. We should know that registration is open to full time college students at 4 year universities, but registration closes quite soon. It closes April 19th at midnight Eastern Time. There is no cost to play, and to register, you just have to go on levelnextesports.com. It is a 5 week competition starting April 23rd, and the championship series will begin May 24th. Over 30 hours of FIFA gameplay will be streamed on their Twitch, so if you love soccer like we do here, please check that out. The prize pool is going to be 100,000, and there will be an additional 50,000 will be awarded to 20 campus esports programs for a Twitter competition. There will also be a community of shoutcasters, celebrity guests, and influencers. And my question to you, Jacob, is will FIFA finally break into the collegiate scene?
Yeah, this is something that I thought was really interesting because when I think of esports, the last esport I think of after Smite is FIFA.
Wow.
And so then when I think of collegiate FIFA, I honestly never even thought about that being a thing. And so Level Next is a ginormous platform. They've done tremendous for Madden. So many people tune in for Madden. The Rocket League gets a huge amount of viewers. So I think that for FIFA, this is a really big get. I think that there's going to be a lot more eyeballs than normal on FIFA, and potentially launch a collegiate scene for that game, which I think is kind of cool. But something that I love even more about Level Next, when it comes to Madden, when it comes to Rocket League, I feel like Level Next has done a really good job of capturing like the bro corner of esports. Because like if I talk to a college bro, I'm like, hey bro, what are you playing? They're either gonna say FIFA, 2K, Madden, or Rocket League, and or Call of Duty. I don't even know if I said Call of Duty already. And so I find it interesting that this ginormous outlet that gets some of the most views in all esports is pushing for this direction. So Erica, do you think that they should continue to spread out their roster? That's question one. Question two, do you think that they should kind of go into that direction of like maybe they snag 2K, maybe they do a Call of Duty tournament? What do you think?
I definitely think different individual competitions for the bro games would really like up their viewership, but at the same time, I like the angle they're going for. it's kind of collecting Infinity Stones. They got the 2K, they got the Rocket League, they got the COD, they got the FIFA. I mean, FIFA is a surprise because we were talking earlier how FIFA is kind of it's a sport. It is definitely a sport game that people play. I just wouldn't imagine the general demographic to be bros unless they all took like a secret survey to
Well,
agree that FIFA's there.
maybe I'm wrong, but that's just the vibe check I've always seen. But I think it's fascinating because FIFA has had an interesting development history. There's been a lot of backlash with a lot of their games recently, and so I'm really excited to see what Level Next does for this property because I think it could be a huge step in the right direction for FIFA. FIFA. I love high-scoring soccer games of 2-1. Moving on, and that's that. But moving on, we're gonna have your preview review coming up right after this. Hello again, friends. Jacob Brothers here. Eric Zadora there. You know the metaphorical desk. And I am here to talk about Halo. And I'm very happy to say that the playoffs are finally upon us. Playoffs will be happening on April 8th and 9th, and then again on the 15th and 16th. And there are 26 teams that have qualified for playoffs just from seeding alone. The top 5 seeds, going from the top to bottom, is University of Urbana-Champaign, Buckeye Gaming Collective, ASU Kinetic, the Uona Dragons, and Rutgers University. So those are seeds 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now, there are also a handful of teams that will be playing in a Swiss stage. So teams that were ranked 3rd and 4th in their divisions will be playing against one another in a Swiss. And that's 24 teams in total. The best 3rd-ranked teams will be playing against the worst 4th-ranked teams. That makes sense, I promise. And it goes on from there. There will be 8 teams that come out of that will join the other 26 teams to make a grand total of 32. So it will be a 32-team bracket. The Swiss stage will be happening on April 8th at 8 p.m. EST. The playoff bracket will begin on April 9th at 8 p.m. EST. And then the second round of playoffs will be taking place on April 15th at, you guessed it, 8 p.m. EST. But the grand finals will be happening on April 16th at 2 p.m. EST. And those will all be a best of 7. And I will let you know next week if things change. But as of right now, all matches will be happening on twitch.tv/collegehalogg. And that is Halo. Good luck, Spartans. Erica, what can you tell us about League of Legends?
Honestly, right now we are kind of in a dry period for League, which breaks my heart because you know me, I love League. Right now we are in Proving Grounds upper brackets, which felt like it took forever with 2 qualifiers and the whole 32 teams, but finally the upper brackets is what we see. We have no collegiate teams that are near and dear to my heart that have made the upper brackets, but all of the academy teams that we were rooting for, like Immortals, Golden Guardians, Team Liquid, C9, have all made it into these finals. The team that I really am looking forward to is Team Liquid Academy, not only because they're kind of known for the upset towards every big league tournament, but also when you see these teams on the Rift, I always say it's scary, but this time it's mesmerizing because their most recent game, their collapses are just beautiful. There's nothing more that I love to see. It's team communication is great on the Rift. And for CLOL, we are finally moving into the championships. We'll begin super soon. The round of 32 will begin April 23rd to the 24th, and the round of 16 will begin April 30th to May 1st. So pretty soon we will be seeing some killer teams. There are 23 confirmed teams, and there will be more added, but of course teams like Maryville, Redbird, Esports, University of Winthrop, Western Legends, ASU, Harrisburg, all of the teams that we know and love will finally be duking against each other, and I am so excited. For the rest of our esports news, here are our interns.
Jumping back into the collegiate Overwatch news, NACE and OWCCS are in playoffs. So for NACE, the first and second place in each conference is set, and the conference championships are wrapping up this week. The first and second teams will move on to playoffs, which start on April 4th. For OWCCS, the top 16 from the group stage are moving on to playoffs. Some of those teams include HU Storm, Bay State, Redbirds, Northwood, Maryville, and Boise State University. Playoffs for the OWCCS start on April 2nd. Don't miss any of these matches because they are sure to be great, so make sure you're tuned in to your school's Twitch account or to NACE's Twitch account.
Hello everyone, my name is Jose and this is your weekly CSGO rundown. Let's get to it. Starting off with the NACE Star League Varsity Regular Season CSGO Conference Playoffs. That's a very long name. UT Austin faced Mississippi State and went toe-to-toe in the first map, but UT Austin would pull ahead 16-9. In a very intense second map, both teams would trade leads. UT Austin would once again pull ahead, however, going on to win the round 25-23 and the match 2-0. In the second match of the playoffs this week, Drexel faced Rensselaer Polytechnic and started as you would expect. Drexel pulled ahead early on in the first map and won 16-9. Polytechnic would come back and show some more bite in the second round, going on to lead and win the round 16-10 and keep Drexel on their toes going into the third round. Drexel, however, would not stay down and dominated Polytechnic in the third round, winning 16-6 and winning 2-1 against Polytechnic. This has been it for the conference playoffs of this week. My name is Jose, and I'll see you next time.
Hey everyone, welcome back to your weekly preview review of Valorant. I am Jack Bridges, and today we're going to be covering a collegiate Valorant Open League that's been going on the past few months. So the Collegiate Esports Association, or CEA, has been putting on a collegiate Valorant League for the past few months, since the beginning of February, I believe. There have been over 120 collegiate teams competing, and today we're going to be going over the quarterfinals and semifinal matches, and the final matches should be done in time for next week's preview review, so make sure to tune in next week for that. And unfortunately, I don't believe they stream any of these games, so I won't be able to get any gameplay for you guys. But I took some notes on the match results that they posted in their Discord, so we're going to be going over those right now. So let's get right into it. In the first quarterfinal match, Cal Poly Pomona Blue took the victory over UGA Black because unfortunately UGA Black forfeited. OSU Black and GSU Student Team were in the second quarterfinal match, in which OSU Black had two commanding victories, a 13-3 victory and a 13-1 victory, to be the second team to move on to the semifinals. In the third match, though, we got some pretty interesting gameplay. So Carleton University Black took on CSULB Gold, and Carleton University Black started out with a hot win, 13-9, I believe. And then CSULB Gold took a 13-5 victory right after, but Carleton University didn't let that loss discourage them, and they came back for the third victory to take 2 out of the 3 and move on to the next round. And in the fourth quarterfinal match, we had SJSU Blue versus USC Varsity, and in both of those matches, SJSU Blue won in overtime 14-12 to move on to the semifinals. So in the semifinal matches, we had SJSU Blue versus OSU Black, and Cal Poly Pomona Blue versus Carleton University Black. So SJSU Blue started out and continued to prove that they are a force in the Valorant scene, especially for collegiate. I don't know if you guys remember, but SJSU Blue is actually the team that won the Battle Academy Winter Saga that we had been covering a few weeks ago. So they put up two commanding victories over OSU Black, in which they got consecutive 13-10 victories on Haven and Breeze respectively. And Cal Poly Pomona Blue started the semifinals by dominating Breeze with 13-8 victory over Carleton University Black, and these Cal Poly also followed up with another victory with 13-11 on Bind. So these two victories put them in the championship match to face the ever so frightening SJSU Blue, who continues to dominate on the collegiate Valorant scene. So I hope you guys will tune in next week to see the results of that match, and thank you guys for watching.
After 2 long weeks, CCL is back, and came back with a pair of bangers on Monday in number 18 Akron versus Illinois State and Louisville versus Trine. Illinois State was able to pull off the upset in spectacular fashion, winning map 5 on the last round to win the whole series 3-2. Louisville and Trine went on to map 5 as well, where Trine was able to edge out the victory in a hard-fought 3-2 win. Unfortunately, they weren't able to keep up the winning, as they went on to get swept by Bowling Green, who also swept their game prior as well. And to end the day, we saw number 25 UT Austin bust out the brooms and New Mexico State winning their game 3-1. Tuesday saw ranked games galore, with every game featuring at least one ranked team. However, the one team that wasn't ranked today was Florida Gulf Coast, and unfortunately they got swept twice by number 15 UT Chattanooga and number 16 Florida State. On the other end, number 9 Independent Community College had 2 games against number 12 Texas State and number 7 St. Edwards, and won them both in dominant fashion, with a pair of 3-1 and 3-0 victories respectively. Number 21 High Point took on number 5 Penn State, in which Penn State won 3-1. The main event of Tuesday saw probably the most high-profile match of the season so far, number 1 Bay State versus number 2 Northwood. Bay State took an early 2-0 lead on Northwood, and Northwood was able to bring it back to a map 5. Unfortunately, Northwood couldn't complete the reverse sweep, thus number 1 Bay State continues their reign of dominance in CCL.
Thanks for that, gamers. And that was your preview review. Coming up next, we're going to be talking about E3 after this. Hello again for the last time this week. Jacob Brothers here, Eric Sidora there. And something else that's happening for the last time is E3. Maybe. E3 has been canceled for this year due to COVID restrictions, and this happened last year, but they did it online. This year, they're not doing it online either. So there is no physical, there is no digital E3 this year. They said in a statement that there will be a revitalized physical and digital E3 experience next year. And I don't know if I really believe that. So, kind of the main question for this segment, and Erica, this is directed to you: is E3 dead?
Say that, Jacob. Don't dead. It's not dead. No, no, no. It's such a tradition in the gaming community, a staple even, that they can't die. Who else is gonna give us Pokemon updates, Mario updates? Anyways, it's important to us. Okay, I don't want it to die, but I also feel like why aren't they broadcasting in it this year? What's the deal with that?
Yeah, I will admit it's not a good look. I am personally in the camp that we don't really need E3 anymore. I mean, two of the three parties don't even go. I mean, for a long time it was cool. You go onto a stage, they show off the Xbox 360, or you go onto a stage and they're playing Destiny and they're like, okay, we look up, whoa, atmosphere, Call of Duty, whoa, the fish have AI. There were a bunch of really great moments, but there's a Nintendo Direct, there's a Sony State of Play, there's an Xbox show, there's an indie direct. Every facet of gaming is already covered now. And so and people aren't really traveling out for that kind of a convention right now. I just personally don't see I don't see the future of E3. Hopefully it happens next year. And they said that they're going to have like a crazy setup, and so hopefully there will be a lot of companies there showing off a bunch of cool showcases. I personally want awkward stage interactions. I want to see a guy playing an instrument uncomfortably for 5 minutes, but that also won't happen because Sony doesn't go to E3 anymore. And so time will tell. But I'm sure the Electronic Entertainment Expo will go on. But again, time will only tell. C'est la vie. But with that, that is our show. We very much appreciate you watching, and we hope that you have a fantastic week. And remember that we will always and forever love you. Have a good one.